I'm from Franklin, Tennessee, and I'm a current senior at UT, studying food security and public health nutrition through the College Scholars Program. So I have minors in Spanish and International Agriculture. So through my minor in International Agriculture, I'm pretty closely connected with the Smith Center of International Ag. And through the Smith Center, I serve as an ambassador to represent study abroad programs and highlight some of the awesome trips that they have for students to go abroad and learn about agriculture. So I got to go on this trip after hearing about it from Dr. Wilcox and Dr. Ader, and because it was the first time it was offered this year, I wanted to try to go and have that experience. Yeah, so the experience was incredible. It was very comprehensive. We got to learn all about coffee, from literally the bean to the cup and all the steps in between. So we learned about both the agriculture side of coffee, the processing side of coffee, and then the business and the marketing side. And that was really powerful because it really brought this global perspective to this commodity crop that we consume almost every day in the US. So it overall was a way to learn about coffee both in the classroom at a university as well as in the fields with farmers, hearing about their experience directly. The most interesting thing that I learned over the trip was seeing what coffee production methods and business methods are most beneficial for the farmers and the producers of coffee. So we actually had the opportunity to see various methods of coffee production and business and marketing, and seeing how these different methods vary slightly, but how each of them are slightly different. So we got to go to an organic coffee co-op. We got to learn from a smallholder farmer who grows their own coffee. And we got to learn from researchers at the Colegio Postgrados de Campos Córdoba, and while there we got to learn about coffee production on more of the scientific side, the academic side. So we got to really learn about it from all angles.
That's so interesting. Wow, that's really cool. And what was the most rewarding or eye-opening part of the trip for you?
The most eye-opening part of the trip, honestly, was probably seeing how important coffee is to so many different people, and seeing how it grows from starting in the cherry and the bean form, which is not what we typically think about when we think about coffee here in the United States, but understanding that coffee really is this backbone of a relationship between the United States and Mexico, and between Mexico and the world, because it's such an important crop. That was really an eye-opening experience, and really just getting to learn from farmers who are the experts of coffee itself, and getting to learn from them what production methods work the best, and how can we best support them as consumers, because they are the ones that are growing this incredible crop that we consume.
And you said you got your jacket in Mexico, right?
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit about like where it's from, that type of thing?
Yeah, so we were in the state of Veracruz in Mexico, which is a coastal state that's right near the water, and has a lot of like influences, like Afro-Caribbean influences. So a lot of the designs and patterns there are reflective of the kind of culture and history that the state has. So I got it there and got to get a lot of neat gifts from Veracruz, not to mention a lot of coffee. Half of my suitcase coming back was just full of coffee. So getting to bring these pieces of Mexico back to the US and share them with people here was really special. So I recommend to any student who is interested in studying abroad, just do it. This was a very important trip for me to do as a senior, because I was able to do a study abroad trip also when I was a freshman. It was also an agriculture-focused trip. It was through the Smith Center of International Agriculture, focused on food security and natural resources in Guatemala. And little did I know shortly after that trip that COVID would hit and disrupt a lot of plans, but the opportunity to go abroad as much as you can for as long as possible is definitely what I recommend. And finding trips that might challenge your interests a little bit. For me as a nutrition and public health student, it was really neat to combine these interests with international agriculture through this Mexico program and learn about how coffee and crops and agriculture trade really intersects all levels of what we study. So I think everyone brings something new to the table when they go on a study abroad trip, and everyone has something to learn. So I highly recommend doing it. I loved having a small group of students go because we did get to learn and get to grow with each other pretty closely. Even though the trip was only a week long, we formed a lot of great relationships that we keep up to this day. And it was really neat, kind of what I mentioned, how each of us had different majors, different academic interests, different personal interests. But when we were in this class about coffee, studying coffee in Mexico, we got to all learn from each other too. And so I think that's the other beautiful part about study abroad is it's not just learning in the country that you're in, but also learning from your group and building off of each other how to best gain the most from the experience. I just want to highlight and re-emphasize the incredible partners that we had in Mexico. So like I mentioned, we got to study from researchers at the Colegio de Postgrados de Campus Córdoba, and that university is located in Córdoba, and they study coffee. That's their main academic interest, and they are experts in the field. And so it was really incredible to get to go as a UT student and learn from experts in coffee, and then get to apply that knowledge in coffee fields, literally getting to learn from farmers, getting to hear from the people who are growing the coffee and benefiting from the research that's happening in the classroom. So that interplay of academics and field experience and extension was really present throughout the trip, and it was because of experts and people who were willing to teach us that was made possible.
My name is Grace Powell. I'm a freshman currently. My major is animal science with the concentration of animal industries, and I'm from Watertown, Tennessee. So I was in AGNR 180, and Dr. Wilcox had mentioned about studying abroad, and that was the main goal of that class was sustainable agriculture or just overall in the world. And so we talked a lot about trips that he has gone on, and the fact that us as students can go on trips as well. Dr. Carlos actually came in and spoke about the trip and gave his little sales pitch for it, and that's what got me interested in it, was just knowing the fact that there was agriculture in other parts of the world that I had no prior knowledge to, and that's what really got me wanting to go. I think the most rewarding part was being able to see the differences in the way that farmers are able to work in their fields, and I had no idea what coffee production was. I honestly didn't know that they were grown on a bush or a tree-like. But so just learning more about coffee and being able to meet those coffee producers in person, we were able to meet them from as if they were like small farmers to largers to corporations to even the research side of it. So I was able to see the coffee production on all four sides. The most interesting thing that I learned was just the process of it. It takes a while. If I remember correctly, the season of coffee production is about 3 to 4 months. And it's not like how we have it, where you can go out with a combine and just collect all your corn in one go. It takes several weeks to months to go out and collect all your coffee cherries, and then from there, there's the drying and the depulping and the grinding and roasting. It's just a very long process that I had no idea how intensive it was until I actually went and did it myself. So I had never traveled out of the country ever before. First time I get my passport. So just the me going out and getting on the airplane, going to nowhere I've never ever been before was just exciting. I went with people that I had no prior knowledge of meeting. We just all hit it off, and it was very interesting that people from different majors and even different colleges could work so well together and learn from each other. I mean, there were only 3 of us that were Herbert students, and then the rest were the business college, and then the 2 of them were in the fine arts, I think. And so it was very interesting to be able to have those conversations with others that are not directly in agriculture. They were there for different parts of it, the business side, the nutrition side. So it was very interesting to be able to have those conversations and be able to learn from each other while we all come from different backgrounds. I would definitely recommend it. It is a trip of a lifetime. If you financially, there are a lot of scholarships available through your college or the college that's putting through the trip, but reach out to those advisors and the professors that are in charge of it to get a better idea of what's going on. Do it even if you're scared. I was extremely scared. I almost backed out about 2 weeks before going, but decided to go anyways. I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity of me being able to go and be able to meet those people and make those relations, because you never know. You may go and decide that you want to go and pursue a master's degree or a PhD in that country that you were in. So I definitely recommend it. It was definitely a trip of a lifetime for me. I would just say I would definitely recommend this trip. It was something that it was the first time that we'd ever gone to this part of Mexico for the coffee production studies. I definitely think that Dr. Carlos is going to take another group next year, and he's talked about extending it to a 10-day trip and making it a little bit more, some more credit hours into it. So it's definitely worth the money and the time. And it's beautiful place that we went to in Cordoba. It was just beautiful. It was a place that I had never. I didn't do any research before I went, and I don't regret that, because it exceeded my expectations of what Mexico was going to look like.
My name is Fleming Mabry. I'm a sophomore here at UTK. My major is language and world business, and I have a minor in international agriculture and natural resources. And my hometown is Franklin, Tennessee. Dr. Adam Wilcox came and talked to our class, like our MFLL 199 class, and I just went out on a limb because it was the first time this program's ever been done, so I thought it would be a lot of fun, and he seemed super engaging, and definitely my vibe for sure. So I was just kind of going with the flow, and it sounded interesting. So going into the trip, I didn't really have any expectations when it came to whatever this was supposed to be, because nobody really had any idea of what we were going to be doing on the trip, which was like the best part of it, because it was all very new. And open to us, and it was everything and more that I could have wanted. We got to go out into the coffee fields. We also learned in a classroom for a day, but it was very hands-on and engaging and very culturally eye-opening. Getting to experience another culture, and just you kind of have that little bit of freedom that I've never really had before when it comes to traveling in other countries. And I got to go out with them and have dinner, and it was a lot of fun just getting to meet new people and form those connections with the professors down there. And it was awesome and beautiful. So the most rewarding part was when we went up into the mountains. I can't exactly remember where it was. I know Ashlyn knows this for sure, but we went up, and her name is Donya. I can't remember her name. That's my fault. But we went up and visited her in her house and got to see her coffee production. It's a very small scale. And her daughter works with her as well. And just getting to sit and talk, and the rain was coming down, and we got to see her whole process from drying the beans out to soaking them and all that. So it was very awesome and eye-opening, and getting to really sit down and talk to her. And she's an incredible woman, and it's like her whole family lives in that little part of the town. So it was awesome that I can drink black coffee and like it. Another thing was just how intensive of a process it was, and like labor intensive. And the fact that there's a big difference between shade-grown coffee, sun-grown coffee. I didn't realize that there was such a big discrepancy between the different kinds of growing when it came to that, and coffee production, all that good stuff. But it was eye-opening and amazing, and now I'm a big coffee snob when it comes to it, because I brought home some coffee from Mexico, and I also brought some home for our neighbors as well, but it's the only coffee that I can drink straight black, and it's amazing. And I learned about all the different processes of how to make it, and so very rewarding. Completely full send, go for it. don't have, I mean, it's a study abroad program, so you're gonna have some apprehensions about it, but if you're ever doubtful, go. Like, that's all I can say is study abroad is something that you really can't pass up during your 4 years if more at college. So it's like you never get those experiences ever again in a college setting. So I would say go for it. So yeah. Oh, we also went to Magic Towns too. Why am I blanking on all the names? They were so beautiful, and we got to just go visit local coffee, like cafes and stuff, like Cafe 88 was amazing, like great coffee all around. So, and I also learned that espresso does not have as much caffeine in it as you would like to think. Yeah, and there's so many things, like I'm a coffee snob.